You don't have to work with me, but you can't talk really loudly, okay? So on number 35, it says write each expression in exponential form. So when I write this in exponential form, what does that mean? What you looking for, hon? Okay. Guys, the video, but y'all. Yeah? Honey, no one knows that I'm talking to you. It's okay, Nihal. Sorry, Nihal. I just pretended like I was talking to you when I was really talking to not Nihal. Okay, hey. Guys, what does it mean when it says put it in exponential form? Okay, why do you say put the 3 in parentheses? Because if I just put 3 in, and I raised it to the what? Perfect, okay. So the power is 3, the root is what? 5. So it's 3/5, I agree. And if you wrote it like this, you're right. This would only be raising the n to that power, and so we need the parentheses around it. Okay? And so that's my answer. Now, I've been highlighting these things to mark my answer, but sometimes it smudges and it looks ugly, but whatever. Okay, so number 36. What's the power on this? Okay, so if I think about, I mean, it's all a power, but I'm going to go ahead and just say, like this is x to the first power, and then the what root? So it's x to the 1/3. Perfect. Yeah. There we go. Okay, yeah. All right. So there's that answer. All right, number 37. Number 37, I'm asking you to find the what? The what? The what root? The cubed root of 343 squared. Should I square it inside or outside? Outside, because if I don't have a calculator, I don't want to have to figure out what 343 squared is and then try and take the cubed root. Are y'all talking about this? Okay. Okay, well, you're talking very loudly and it was distracting. Nihal. No, I really am talking to Nihal. And Connor, but he's got really quiet, so I act like I wasn't. Anyway. Okay, where do I look on my power chart? So I look at 2 to the 3rd, 3 to the 3rd, 4 to the 3rd, 5, 6, 7. 7 to the 3rd is 343, right? What does that? So what does that mean to me? Good. The cubed root of 343 is 7, and it's 7 squared, which is 49. And that's why we can do it without a calculator. Okay. Number 38. What am I asking you to find? The square root of 64 to the first power, right? What's the square root of 64? All right. We like questions like that, don't we? We do. And they will end up on the test. Yay. All right, 39. Abby, would you mind taking these up there and taping them to the board, but leave space for this page in between, that one up there? Okay. And put the, yeah, you're good, whatever you do. All right, 39. So 39 says 81 to the negative 3/2, yeah? What does a negative do? Right, having a negative power just means that it's in the wrong location. So this is equivalent to 1 over 81 to the 3/2. I have some people that would make that a negative 81, but that doesn't make it negative. It just changes location. So I'm asking you to find the what root? The square root of 81 to the 3rd power. What's the square root of 81? 9, and what's 9 cubed? And there's your answer. 1 over 729. Okay? On I'm asking you to find 27m to the 6 all to the 5/3 power. Okay. So what did you do here? I want to know what were you thinking? What are y'all's thoughts? Any thoughts? What'd you do? Yeah. Okay. You put that in parentheses. On the inside or the outside? What do y'all think? Sure. Outside? And then the cubed root right there? Okay, the way this actually works out, it's going to be kind of nice. Because what's the cubed root of 27? 3. And what's the cubed root of m to the 6th? Basically, I asked myself, how many times does 3 go into 6? 2 times, with none left over, right? So I'm asking you to figure out what 3m squared to the 5th power is. So I need to distribute that power, yeah? What's 3 to the 5th? What's 3 to the 5th? Because I have a lot of people that would say 3 times 5 right there. But remember, this is a power. And when I do this, I got to multiply that power. So that's 3 to the 5th, which is 243. M to the what? M to the 10th. And there's my answer. 243 m to the 10th. All right, on number 41. Oop, oh well. I've got negative 2x to the 2/5 times 16x to the 1/2. So, what do I need to do with this power of 1/2? Do I need to distribute it? Yep. What do I do right there? Do I say 16 times 1/2? Or is it 16 to the 1/2 power? 16 to the 1/2 power means what to you? The square root of 16, which is what? 4. So that's really just a 4. And this is x to the 1/2. Yeah? So I've got negative 2x to the 2/5 times 4x to the 1/2. So I multiply the numbers and I get what? What's negative 2 times 4? Negative 8. And then I get x to the, well, what's x to the 2/5 times x to the 1/2? How do I figure that out? Because I need to have the same denominator, because what am I doing with the powers? I'm adding them. Yeah? Yeah, if I have like x squared times x to the 5th, that's x to the 7th because I add them, yeah? So when I'm multiplying x to the 2/5 times x to the 1/2, that's x to the 2/5 plus 1/2. And the only way I can add fractions is if they have a common denominator. What is common between 2 and 5? 10. So I multiply this one by 5 on top and bottom, and I multiply this one by 2 on top and bottom. So I get 4/10 plus 5/10, and that is 9/10. So my answer is negative 8x to the 9/10. Now, if you wanted to, you could write the 10th root of x to the 9th. You don't have to. That's fine with me to leave it right there. Okay. On 42. 42 is pretty simple. What am I supposed to do? Right, right. When they're on top and bottom, it's subtraction, and I can just think of it as canceling them out, right? 3 of these cancel out with 3 of those, leave me with how many x's? 2. A 1y with 1y, leave me with 1y. So the final answer is? Perfect. Okay. Number 43. What am I going to need to do with that power of negative 3? Distribute it. First off, can you tell me right quick, when I see a 0 power, what do? I just couldn't, yeah, mark it out. Anything with 0 power is 1, and multiplying by 1 doesn't change anything. So if it has 0 power, just mark it out. So I'm going to go ahead and start distributing it. What is negative 2 to the negative third? Let's talk about that. Negative 2 to the negative third. What does it mean to have a negative power? Position, right? It belongs in the denominator, right? So it's actually negative 2 cubed in the denominator. What is negative 2 cubed? Negative 8. If I have 1 divided by negative 8, what am I going to do with that negative? Move it to the top. So if I were to draw a fraction bar right here, I would put an 8 down here, but put the negative up there. Does that make sense? Huh? If I'm dividing by a negative 8, like if I said, what is 17 divided by a negative 8, I would expect you to say it's a negative 17/8. Yeah? Because when you divide by a negative, it changes your sign. But then it doesn't simplify with 8, so you can just leave it as 17/8. So bring the negative up, but leave the 8 down there. Okay, now I've got the power of x. So when I do this, when I got x to the third and then I have that negative 3, what happens to it? That's x to the what now? Negative 9? So where does it belong? Denominator. So now x to the positive 9. And then y? What's y to the negative 4 to the negative third? Positive 12, which means it stays in the numerator. Is that my answer? Okay, the computer just got slow. Let's see if it, yeah, it's caught up. Okay, all right. 44, which is even more fun. All right, here we go. I'm going to draw a fraction bar and just start putting things where they go. So, what's the first thing you do? Start distributing. So I've got 2 squared. What's that? 4. So I put a 4 in the numerator. Now I've got x cubed squared. Where does that go? X to the 6th. Now I've got y to the negative 2 to the 2nd. What's that? Y to the negative 4. Good, which means I'm going to put y to the 4th in the denominator. Okay? Now I've got, I'm just going to start putting these where they belong because we're not distributing. Where does the 3 go? Stays in the numerator. What about the x squared? Numerator y, z, denominator. So if I had a positive power, I just left it in the numerator. If I had a negative power, I moved it to the denominator. Okay? Now I'm going to work with this first term of the denominator. I've got a negative 2 power that I'm distributing. I've got a negative 2 to the negative 2 in the denominator. What does that mean? What is a negative? Well, what does that negative power mean? I need to move it to the top, right? So it's negative 2 to the positive 2. What's negative 2 squared? Positive 4. So work it out separately if you need to. Negative 2 to the negative 2 just means in the denominator, negative 2 squared in the numerator, and negative 2 squared is 4. So I'm going to put a 4 up here. All right. Now I've got x squared to the negative 2. What does that mean? X to the negative 4, which means it belongs in the numerator. Yeah? Is that going to be the same thing for the y and the z? Yeah. Right here I've got y to the 2 to the negative 2, which means y to the negative 4, which means that belongs in the numerator, y to the 4th. And then I've got z to the 1 to the negative 2, which simplifies to z to the negative 2, and that is z squared in the numerator. Now this last part, it's all positive powers in the denominator, so it stays in the denominator. So let's go ahead and simplify it out. Is it 3 times 2 or 3 squared? 3 squared is, so I put a 9 down here. X what? Squared. Y to the 8th and z to the 2nd. Now, I'm okay with you guys combining things before you simplify. I'm okay with you canceling out things before you simplify. Whatever you like to do. Some of you do it in your head. Some of you go ahead and work around. I noticed that there's two z squares on the end, so I'm going to go ahead and mark them out. There's one on top, one on bottom, they go away. Is there anything else I can just cancel off right off the bat? Yeah, I have a y to the fourth right here and a y to the fourth right there, right? So that can go away. Okay. X squared. I got an x squared right there and an x squared right there. Okay, I think that's the only ones that are the exact same. So I'm going to go ahead and simplify now. I've got a 4 times a 3 times a 4. Hey, can I simplify the 3 and the 9? 3/9 simplifies to 1/3. So I really just got 4 times 4 in the numerator, which is what? 16. I've got x to the 6th, y, x to the 4th. So what is the x to the 6th and x to the 4th simplify to? X to the 10th. And then I have what left over? A y. In the numerator. In the denominator, I have, that's gone, z squared, y to the 8th of 3. So I'll put the 3 in the front. And then I've got y to the 8th and z squared. So what's the only thing I'm going to be able to simplify? The y. How many? 1. So I'm just going to mark that out and make that a 7 and call it good. I'll write it again. 16x to the 10th over 3y to the 7th z squared. Now we did a lot of simplification in there. It's not always going to happen that a lot of stuff simplifies out, so at that point we just combine everything, and then simplify as you can. Okay? Alright, I'm going to go to the next one. 45. I noticed that I have a 2 times a bunch of stuff in the numerator and a 2 times into the 4/3 in the denominator. What can I do with those 2's? Can't they just go away? They simplify out. Okay. How many m's do I have in this whole thing? M. I only have one m term, right? So I'm not going to have to do anything to it. So I've got 3 m to the 1/4. That n stays in the numerator. Where does this n go? You can't even see. Where does that n go? Denominator. So n to the 7/4 down here with an n to the 4/3, yeah? Okay. I'm going to need to simplify out the n's, but I'm going to need a what first? Common denominator. So I'm going to rewrite this as n to the 1/1, 7/4, and 4/3, right? So what's the common denominator between 1, 4, and 3? 12? Yeah? So that means I need to multiply this one up here by 12 on top and bottom. And then what about the 7/4? So I need to multiply by what? 3 to make it 12. And then what do I need to multiply the 4/3 by? 4. So here's what I've got. 3 m to the 1/4 n to the 12/12 over this is 21/12 and this is 16/12. What do I do with those two powers? Add them. What's 21 plus 16? 37. So in the denominator I have n to the 37/12. So what do? What can I do, guys? Right. Right. 12 of these can cancel out with 12 of those, leave me with how many? 25. So my final answer is 3m to the 1/4 divided by n to the 25/12. And there you go. Okay, let's go to number 46. On number 46, I have x to the 3 halves, y to the negative second, x to the negative first, all to the negative second. So let's distribute that power. What is a negative 2 times the 3 halves? Negative 2 times 3 halves? Isn't that just negative 6 divided by 2, which is negative 3? Or the 2's cancel out and I'm left with negative 3? Okay, so the first term is x to the negative 3, which means where does it belong? In the denominator. So that's x cubed. What about y to the negative second to the negative second? What does that become? And that stays in the top because now it has a positive power. Now I've got x to the negative 1 to the negative second. That's x to the positive 2, so that stays in the numerator, x squared. What about the y, or the x in the denominator? That moves to the numerator? Too bad I didn't leave myself enough space. So x to the positive 5/3, and then y squared stays in the denominator. Can we simplify already some? Yeah. 2 of those cancel out with 2 of those, leave me with 2, right? Would you simplify any of the x's before we start combining? Right. 2 of those cancel out with 2 of those, leave me with 1, right? So I've got y squared x to the 5/3 over x to the 1 over 1, right? So that's a little bit easier to simplify. I just need a common denominator between 3 and 1. What's the common denominator? 3. So I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 3, which makes that 3/3, yeah? So if I have x to the 5/3 divided by x to the 3/3, how many cancel out? 3, leaving me with how many? 2. So 3/3 cancel out with 3, leaving me with 2/3. So my final answer is x to the 2/3, I'll put it in order, y to the second. Okay, let's go to number 47. Factoring. Alright, what do I need to do? Okay, what's 4 times 1? So I'm looking for the factors of 4 that add up to 5. I've got 1 and 4 and 2 and 2. 1 and 4. And 1 and 4, positive and positive? Yeah? So x plus 1 and x plus 4. What do I have to remember to do? Divide by the number that I multiplied by. So divide by 4 here, divide by 4 there. And I make that 4x plus 1 because it doesn't simplify, and then I make this what? X plus 1. You can always check to see if you're right by multiplying it back out, right? Okay. So 48. I'm going to multiply 2 times negative 21, which is what? Negative 42. I'm looking for the factors of negative 42 that add up to negative 1. So you got 1 and 42, 2 and 21, 3 and 14, and 6 and 7. Yeah? I'm thinking 6 and 7. Which one adds up to negative 1? Which one has to be negative? Good. I need a negative 7, so that add up to a negative 1, yeah? So I'm going to write r plus 6 and r minus 7. But then I'm going to go back and divide by 2, which makes the first one what? And there you go. Okay, number 49. 49, tell me about 49. Does it have a middle term? Right, it's 0. But I have some people telling me it's a difference of perfect squares. Is that right? Right. If I notice that, then I can just say what? Doesn't matter order though, right? So, there you go. If you wanted to, you could write a 0x in there and say, what are the factors of negative 25 that add up to 0? And that would be negative 5 and positive 5 anyway. All right, so on 50. Is there a number in front? Oh, just a 1, so I don't need to multiply, right? So what are the factors of negative 56 that add up to 1? 8 and 7? Which one needs to be negative? 7. So I've got m plus 8, m minus 7. Am I done? Yeah. Okay, 51. 51, I need to simplify these roots. Okay, can I simplify the 2 square roots of 3? No, so I'm just going to go ahead and rewrite that. Negative 2 square root of 3. What about the square root of 12? What goes into 12? 4 goes into it 3 times. So do I bring a 4 out or a 2 out? A 2 out. Do I add it to the negative 3 or multiply it? Multiply it. I had a lot of people adding on the test. So this is 2 root 3 times a negative 3, which makes it what? Negative 6 root 3. 27 is what? Okay. The square root of 9 is? So I've got 3 root 3 times a negative 3. That makes it negative 9 root 3. What's negative 2 root 3 minus 6 root 3 minus 9 root 3? Negative 17 root 3? Okay. On 52. Do I know the cubed root of 6? Is there one? I mean, there is one, but it's not a whole number, right? So I can't do anything with that. Negative 3 times the cubed root of 6. What about 24? Is 24 a perfect cube? 8 goes into it. Yeah, it's not a perfect cube itself, but 8 does go into it. So negative 8 times 3. So what is the cubed root of negative 8? Negative 2. So the cubed root of negative 8 is negative 2. I'm left with a 3 on the inside, and I have a 3 already on the outside, which makes it minus 6 cubed roots of 3. So far, it doesn't look like I can combine the first two, yeah? Now I've got the 2 cubed roots of 81. Is 81 a perfect cube? 81 is a perfect 4th power, right? Which really just means to me that it's 27 times 3. Yeah? So it's the perfect cubed root, or the perfect cube 27 times another 3. And what's the cubed root of 27? 3, so I bring a 3 on the outside and I leave a 3 on the inside, which makes it plus 6 cubed roots of 3. Oh, what happens? So I'm just left with negative 3 times the cubed root of 6. If Addie got me sick, I'm going to fail her. All right, number 53. Can I subtract these two matrices? Why? And they have to be in order to add or subtract, right? So I really just think negative 6, so it should be in the same dimensions. What's negative 6 minus 3? Negative 9. What's 3 minus a negative 2? 3 plus 2, which is 5, and there's my answer. Martin, you weren't here for the matrices. Have you done matrices before? Okay, so let's just watch these and see if you can pick up on it, okay? I probably won't I'll see what you can do, but okay. Guys, I need to add these. Are they the same dimensions? What's with that 2 in the front? What does that mean? Multiply first. So that's what? That's 8. That's 10 and negative 12. So if I distribute the 2, I got those. So I'm really adding these numbers to this matrix, right? Okay, so it should be a 2 by 2 again. So I've got 2 plus 0, 8 plus a negative 4, 4, 10 plus 4, negative 12 plus a negative 1, negative 13. So distribute the scalar 2, and then add the terms. All right. I left you some space on 55. So, okay, first, what do I need to do before I start multiplying matrices? Right. Make sure the dimensions match up, right? What are the dimensions of this first one? It's 3 rows by 2 columns, so it's a 3 by 2 times a 2 by 2. Can I? Because these are the same, right? And that means my answer is going to be a what? A 3 by 2. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 3 rows by 2 columns, and I probably don't need this much space, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. Okay, so just as a reminder, guys, how do I multiply matrices? Row by column, right? First row, first column, so it's in the first term. What's 0 times 3? So I multiply the first term to the first term. And then what's 1/3 times 1/2? 1/6. When you multiply fractions, you multiply straight across. Okay? Next, I'm going to multiply this row times this column. Right? So it's 0 times negative 5. And what's 1/3 times 4? Okay? Those are easy enough. Now I'm going to multiply the second row times both of those columns, right? So I've got 6 1 times 3 1/2. What's 6 times 3? 18 plus what's 1 times 1/2? 1/2. We'll have to simplify that in a little bit, but we'll come back to it. And now I've got 6 1 times negative 5 4. What's 6 times negative 5? And 1 times 4? Okay. Last row, so I've got 1 4 times 3 1/2. 1 times 3 is 3, and 4 times 1/2 is 2. And now I have 1 4 times negative 5 4. What's 1 times negative 5? And 4 times 4? 16. And so I can, oh, sorry, I was sideways. So now I combine. What's 0 plus 1/6? What's 0 plus 4/3? What's 18 plus 1/2? What do I do? So 18 is over 1, right? So I need to find a common denominator. What's the common between 1 and 2? 2. So what's 2 times 18? 36. 2 times 10 is 20, and 2 times 8 is 16, so 36. What's 36 halves plus 1/2? 37 halves. What's negative 30 plus 4? Negative 26. 3 plus 2? 5, and negative 5 plus 16 is 11. And there's my answer. So when we multiply row by column, row by column, row by column, row by column. And you just multiply the first and the second terms, and then you just add them together. Okay, number 56. What are the dimensions of the first matrix? 1 by 2. And what are the dimensions of the second matrix? 2 by 3. The middle ones match, so we can do it, and my answer is going to be a 1 by 3. So 1 row, 3 columns, yeah? 1, 2, 3. All right. So let's start working it out. Row by column. I only have one row, right? So this row by this column. What's 5 times negative 5? Negative 25. What's 3 times negative 1? Negative 3. Let's go ahead and figure that out. What is that? Okay, so my first term is negative 28. Now I do row by column. Still just this row, now the middle column. What's 5 times negative 5/3? Negative 25/3. Just multiply across. Negative 25/3. And then what's 3 times 5? Which is over 1. So let's go ahead and find our common denominator. What's common? 3. So I need a 3 here and a 3 there. What's 3 times 15? What's 45 minus 25? 20, so this is 20/3 is my middle term. And last one, row by column. 5 times 5 is 25. 3 times negative 2 is, and that makes that 19. And there's my answer. Okay. All right, let's go to number 57. Do y'all remember how to do these? Okay, so this is when we multiply the multiplicative inverse times negative 1214 to kind of undo the equation, yeah? So the first thing I'm going to do is rewrite this as an equation, a matrix equation. 2, 10, 1, negative 5 times xy. And you don't have to do this. You can go ahead and jump into working it, but I'm going to go ahead. That's the equation we're trying to solve if you write it as a matrix equation. The idea being that if I'm solving an equation like, say, 2x equals 7, what do I do to solve for x? Divide by 2. Is that the same thing as multiplying by 1/2? Which is just the multiplicative inverse of 2, because when I multiply I get 1 left over, right? Well, I just need to find the multiplicative inverse of this so I can multiply by it on both sides, so that I'm only left with xy, solving for the variable. So do you remember how to find the determinant? Sorry, the multiplicative inverse. One over the, okay, which is called the determinant, right? So the determinant of the matrix A, and we'll go ahead and let that be matrix A, times the adjugate of matrix A. So let's go back over determinant and adjugate. What is the determinant? How do you find that? Okay. I'm going to tack on a piece of paper. Huh? Oh, I'll show you. So if I've got A, B, C, and D, and that's matrix A, then the determinant is A times D minus B times C. Yeah? And then how do I find the adjugate? Good. So A and D switch places, and then B and C change sign. Okay? So to find the multiplicative inverse, I do 1 over the determinant times the adjugate, and then I multiply that times the right-hand side of the equation, and we'll get there, okay? So determinant. Let's figure that out. A times D, so 2 times negative 5 is what? So negative 10 minus 10 times 1, so minus 10, which is what? Negative 20. So I've got a negative 1 over 20 times what? The adjugate? So what is the adjugate of 2, 10, 1, negative 5? Negative 5, negative 10, negative 1, and 2. Switch those two and change the sign of 10 and negative 1. What do I do with that negative 1/20th? I multiply, I distribute it, right? Do I simplify with the 20? No. If you simplify, then you're going to have to find common denominators, so we just leave it as is and call it good. So I've got 5/20ths in the first one, 10/20ths in the next one, 1/20th, and then negative 2/20ths, yeah? What am I going to multiply that times? Right. Technically, I would multiply it right here and right here. It has to be on the same side in matrix multiplication, right? Because if you multiply a 2 by 2 by a 2 by 1, you're good, but if you multiply a 2 by 1 by a 2 by 2, it doesn't work, yeah? So I need to multiply that matrix times negative 12, 14. So I'm going to write that over here. $5.20, $10.20, 1/20th, and negative 2/20th times negative 12, 14 equals. It is a 2 by 2 times a 2 by 1. It always will be, and that'll leave me with what? A 2 by 1, yeah? Alright, let's multiply it out. 2 rows, 1 column. So if I multiply this first row times that column, what's 5/20ths times negative 12? What do I expect you to do? Right, 5 times negative 12 is a negative 60/20ths. And then 10/20ths times 14? What's 10/20ths times 14? 140 over 20. In this case, could we simplify if we wanted to? Sure, because you could say 70 and you could say 30 there. But either way, what's negative 60 plus 140? 80? And what's 80 divided by 20? 4. Okay, now what do I multiply? Yep. So I've got this row times this column. What's 1 times negative 12? So negative 12/20ths plus, what is negative 2 times 14? Negative 28/20ths. What's negative 12 and negative 28? Negative 40/20ths. And what's negative 40 divided by 20? Negative 2. And there's my answer. My answer, though, I'm going to write like this. Okay, I think that's going to have to be it for this video. I don't think I'll put the other one in. So, I'll pick back up at 58.